My girlfriend just spent $4,600 on a vacation without asking me. When I questioned it, she said she has other men who would take her on trips without complaining. I'm sitting in my car in the hospital parking lot typing this because I can't go home yet. I just got off a 12-hour shift as a nurse anesthetist, and I'm genuinely questioning whether the last 2.5 years of my life have been real. So here's what happened. I walked into our apartment around 7 p.m., exhausted, ready to meal prep for the week and maybe watch something mindless on Netflix. Madison was sitting on the couch with her MacBook, practically vibrating with excitement. She went, "Baby, surprise, we're going to Qley." She turned the screen toward me, showing me this confirmation email. 7 days at an all-inclusive resort private cenote tour, airport transfers, the whole influencer dream package. I looked at the total, $4,622, charged to my credit card. The one I gave her for emergencies about 6 months ago. Oh, and she'd also used all of my airline miles. The ones I'd been saving for 3 years. Completely wiped out. I took a breath and said, "Babe, this looks amazing, but we should have talked about this first. $4,000 is a lot of money." Her face changed instantly. She said, "You make way more than me, Zach. Stop acting like you're doing me some huge favor." I tried to explain that it wasn't about the money itself. It was about making major decisions together. We live together. We're supposed to be partners, right? That's when she said it. "Zach, I have other men who would love to take me on trips without making me feel guilty about it." I just stared at her. "What?" She doubled down. "If you're going to be stingy, maybe I should explore my options." I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. "Options? What are you talking about?" She shrugged. "I mean, I'm not trapped here. Guys offer to fly me out all the time. DMs, comments on my posts. I just never took them up on it because I thought you were different." I told her if that's how she feels, maybe she should figure out what she really wants. She laughed, actually laughed. "Don't be dramatic. You know you need me more than I need you." Then she went into the bedroom and closed the door. I've been sitting here for 2 hours now and I keep replaying that conversation. The thing is, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Not the vacation part, but the attitude. A few months ago, I asked if she could contribute more to groceries since I was covering about 90% of our food costs. Her response: "Fine, but don't be mad if I start having dinner somewhere else." Last month, I suggested she look for a full-time position since bartending 3 nights a week wasn't really cutting it financially. She said, "I don't have to work more just because you like budgeting." For context, I'm a nurse anesthetist. I make decent money, around $180K a year. Madison bartends part-time and is trying to build her social media presence as a lifestyle influencer. She makes maybe $1,200 to $1,500 a month between bartending and the occasional brand deal. We've been together 2.5 years, living together for 10 months. The apartment lease is only in my name. I pay rent $2,100 a month. All utilities, internet, car insurance for both of us, streaming services, most groceries, and I've been covering her phone bill for the last 8 months. Her contribution: maybe $250, $300 a month for household stuff, which mostly means coffee, decorative candles, and those viral TikTok snacks. I call my best friend Noah on the way to my car. His response: "Dude, that's financial abuse. She sees your income as her lifestyle entitlement." Am I crazy? Is this normal in relationships where there's an income gap? The thing that's really bothering me is that comment about other men. Because now I'm thinking back on other things she said, about how her ex never appreciated her, about how her friends' boyfriends take them to Bali and Santorini, about how she deserves certain things because she's put in the time. I'm starting to feel like I'm not a boyfriend. I'm a bank account with feelings. The worst part: the lease is in my name. The credit card is in my name. The airline account is in my name. And now I'm reading the terms and conditions on every single one of those accounts, and I'm realizing I've been subsidizing someone else's dream life while they shop around for someone with deeper pockets. Edit: a lot of you are asking about the Qley booking. I just checked, it's refundable until 14 days before travel. The trip is in 6 weeks. I'm thinking, Update 1. Okay. Deep breath. I wasn't planning to update this soon, but things have moved faster than I expected, and I need to get this out of my head. First, thank you to everyone who commented on my original post. A lot of you called me out for being a doormat, and honestly, you were right. I've spent the last 2 weeks seeing this relationship with clear eyes for the first time, and it's been brutal. So here's what I did. The morning after I made that post, I woke up and Madison was already on her phone, scrolling through resort reviews for Qley, acting like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't just told me she had a roster of backup men waiting in the wings. I didn't say anything. I went to work, but during my lunch break I made some calls. First call was to my bank. I reported the Qley charge as unauthorized because it was. I gave her that card for emergencies, not vacations. The card got immediately frozen and they're issuing me a new one with a different number. They opened a dispute for the charge. Second call was to the airline. I explained the situation, that someone had accessed my account and used my miles without permission. They froze the booking pending resolution of the credit card dispute. Basically, the Qley trip is in limbo now. If the charge gets reversed, the booking gets canceled automatically. Third call was to the resort. I gave them a heads up about the ongoing dispute and asked to split the reservation, keep any credit in my name only. They were actually really understanding. Apparently this happens more than you'd think. Then I did something bigger. I opened a completely separate checking account and had my paycheck rerouted there. The old account, the one Madison knew about, I left just enough in there to cover the apartment rent and bills that are in my name. Everything else, gone, protected. I also started going through bank statements from the last 10 months. I made a spreadsheet. Every charge, every Venmo, every "can you cover this, I'll pay you back" that never got paid back. The total, $24,378 in 10 months. Not including rent and utilities. That number includes gym membership, $190 a month, nail appointments, hair appointments, Ubers because it's dark out, constant DoorDash orders, a designer bag for her birthday that she picked out, and about 40 different instances of "I'm short this month, can you cover?" I sat in my car staring at that spreadsheet for probably 20 minutes. $24,000. I could have paid off my student loans. I could have bought a used car outright. Instead, I funded someone's soft life era while she told me she had other options. Tuesday night, I asked Madison to sit down. I showed her the spreadsheet. I said, "I've been thinking about what you said, about having other men who'd love to take you on trips. And you're right, you do have options. So I'm not going to stand in your way anymore." She looked confused. "What are you talking about?" I said. "I'm ending this. We're done. You have 30 days to find a new place. That's the legal requirement in Colorado since you're not on the lease. During that time, I'll stay with Noah, but we're over." I've never seen someone cycle through so many emotions so fast. First came dismissal. "You're overreacting. This is about a vacation." Then tears. "I didn't mean it like that. I was just feeling insecure. I don't actually have other men." Then guilt. "You're really going to abandon me knowing I can't afford to live alone after everything we've been through?" And finally, threats. "You can't just kick me out. I'll tell everyone you're controlling and financially abusive. I'll blast you on social media." I stayed calm. I handed her printed copies of the bank statements with every charge highlighted. I said, "I'm not abandoning you. I'm just done paying for someone who advertises replacement options." She tried to argue, said I was weaponizing money, said real men don't keep spreadsheets of what they spend on their girlfriends, said I was punishing her for being honest about her options. I just repeated, 30 days. Over the next week, I started disconnecting her from everything. Phone plan, I'd added her to my family plan 6 months ago. I called the carrier, moved her to a basic prepaid plan which I paid for 1 month and then she's on her own, and kept my number since it was originally mine. Gym, I canceled her membership at the boutique fitness place, $190 a month. She found out when her key card didn't work. Streaming services, I removed her profile from Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Amazon Prime. Changed all the passwords. Car insurance, called my insurance company and had her removed as a driver on my policy. Every time something stopped working, she'd text me, "Why is my Spotify not working? My trainer says my membership is canceled. Did you change my phone plan? My data is garbage now." My response every time was the same. "I'm no longer funding things for someone I'm not in a relationship with. You said you had other options." Here's where it gets interesting. Noah's girlfriend Claire went to brunch with Madison and her friends last weekend. Claire didn't know Madison and I had broken up yet because Madison's been keeping that quiet on social media. Apparently, Madison spent the whole brunch complaining about me being stingy and controlling. But then, and this is the part Claire told Noah who told me, she also talked about her backup plans. The three other men who would love to take her on trips. Guy number 1, a business traveler she met at the bar where she works, married, has offered to fly her out to meet him when he's traveling, purely for sex. She knows he's married. Guy number 2, her personal trainer at the gym, the one she can't go to anymore, currently sleeping on a friend's couch, doesn't have a passport. Guy number 3, a crypto investor she's been deeming with on Instagram, lives in Miami. They've never met in person. He sends her voice memos about his portfolio and investments but has never actually offered to meet her or send money. So the options she was so confident about: a married guy looking for a side piece, a homeless trainer, and a probable catfish. Claire said Madison got really quiet when one of her friends asked, "Wait, so none of them are actually offering to help you with rent or anything?" I'm not going to lie, finding this out felt good. Not in a petty way, okay, maybe a little petty, but more in a my reality check is checking out kind of way. She didn't have options. She had fantasies. And now that I'm actually calling her bluff, she's realizing the difference. We're at day 12 of the 30-day notice. Madison has been switching between trying to negotiate, "What if I stay 3 more months and pay half the rent?" and trying to guilt me, "I can't believe you're really doing this. This is so cold." I'm not budging, and honestly, I feel lighter than I have in months. The Qley charge is still in dispute. The airline has frozen those miles pending the outcome. More updates to come. 18 days left on the clock. Update 2. I figured the 30 days would pass, Madison would move out, and I'd quietly move on with my life. I was wrong. About 3 weeks ago, Madison started posting on Instagram and TikTok. Nothing directly naming me, but very clearly about me. POV, you give a man 2.5 years and he cuts your phone plan and gym membership the second you ask for a vacation. Ladies, if he complains about paying for things, he's not the one, he's a roommate with benefits. Men will really keep spreadsheets of what they spend on you and then call it love. The comments were mixed. Some people were supportive, dump him sis and all that, but a lot of people were asking questions. Wait, didn't you say he paid for literally everything? Did you ask before you booked? How much did you contribute then? When the comments didn't go the way she wanted, she started deeming mutual friends privately, telling them I was controlling and financially abusive, that I wouldn't let her go out with friends, that I monitored her spending and punished her for wanting nice things. A few people reached out to me. I didn't engage in drama, but I did send them the same thing, screenshots of my bank statements showing what I actually paid for, and screenshots of the text messages where she talked about her other options. Most people went quiet after that. A couple apologized for believing her story. Last Tuesday, I got a message on LinkedIn from a guy named Chase Dalton. The message said, "Hey man, this is going to sound weird, but I think we met briefly at that conference in Phoenix last year. You work at Denver General, right? I need to talk to you about someone we both know." I was confused, but I responded. We set up a call. Turns out, Chase is a 42-year-old medical equipment sales rep. We had crossed paths at a healthcare conference, exchanged cards, never followed up. But he remembered my name and where I worked. Here's why he reached out. Madison had been messaging him for 3 months. She'd found him through Instagram. He has a decent following, posts about travel, nice cars, that kind of thing. She introduced herself as single and stuck in a toxic living situation with an ex who won't let her leave. She told him I was controlling her money, isolating her from friends, and that she desperately needed help getting out. She asked if he could help her get away, specifically, if he could book her a trip so she could clear her head and figure out her next steps. Chase said something felt off. She was too eager, too focused on what he could buy her rather than actually getting to know him. So he did what any smart person would do. He Googled me. He found my LinkedIn, saw I worked at the hospital she'd mentioned, and figured he should give me a heads up. He sent me screenshots of their DM conversation. In them, Madison called me financially abusive for banning her from using Netflix, even though it was my account. Said I wouldn't let her work more hours, while in fact, I'd encouraged her to go full-time. Claimed she was walking on eggshells financially while spending my money freely. Said she had multiple guys willing to sponsor trips if Zach won't. Chase's message to me ended with, "I don't know your situation, but this felt like a scam. Thought you should know." I forwarded everything to the lawyer friend who'd been advising me. He said to save it all, document everything, but don't engage with her about it. If she tries to escalate legally or publicly, this is evidence of a pattern. So instead of confronting Madison with the Chase situation, I just let it sit. I focused on protecting myself. Kept all communication with her via text or email, nothing verbal that couldn't be documented. Didn't engage in arguments or try to defend myself publicly, only answered with the truth when people reached out personally. Noah and Claire have been incredible. Claire actually reached out to Madison's closest friend, a girl named Amber, and had a real conversation with her. Amber admitted she'd been worried about Madison's mindset around men and money for a while, but didn't know how to bring it up. By week 3 of the 30 days, things started falling apart for Madison. She'd been spending so much time on her phone, deeming potential sponsors, and crafting her victim narrative on social media, that she started showing up late to her bartending shifts, then missing them entirely. I heard from Claire that she'd been calling out sick to go to apartment viewings, or because she was too stressed to work. Her manager finally had enough and cut her hours down to 1 shift a week. Between losing income and suddenly having to pay for her own phone, subscriptions, Ubers, and everything else, she burned through her savings fast. She still hadn't found a place to live. Denver rent is insane right now, and she couldn't afford anything on her own. She'd been asking friends if she could crash for a few weeks but wasn't getting many takers. With 3 days left before the 30-day deadline, she tried one last negotiation. "What if I stay for 3 more months and I'll actually pay half of everything? I'll prove to you I don't need trips or sponsors or any of that. I'll show you I can be a real partner." I looked at her and said, "I don't want you to prove anything to me. You told me you didn't need me. I'm finally believing you, period." She moved out 2 days later, went to stay with an aunt in Colorado Springs temporarily. I helped her move her stuff. I'm not a monster, but I didn't waver. The apartment feels emptier, but it also feels mine, like I can breathe again. The Qley charge was fully reversed. The airline restored most of my miles minus a small admin fee. Technically, I didn't lose as much money as I thought I would. I've blocked Madison on social media. I don't need to see her healing era posts or whatever narrative she's building now. I'm rebuilding my friend group. I'm hiking more, actually using my weekends for myself instead of funding someone else's Instagram content. And you know what? I'm okay. Better than okay. I don't hate Madison. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just done. Done being an ATM with feelings. Done confusing financial generosity with love. Done ignoring my own worth. Final UPDAT. I wasn't planning on writing another update, but something happened last week that feels like the perfect closing to this whole chapter, so here we are. Through mutual friends, the ones who stayed neutral, I heard Madison eventually moved in with her parents in Fort Collins. She's working full-time at a restaurant now, had to give up the part-time lifestyle influencer thing. Her Instagram is still active, but it's been rebranded to Healing Journey and Soft Girl on a budget content. Lots of posts about narcissistic exes who weaponize money. Apparently the other men didn't work out. Surprise, I know. The married business traveler stopped responding when she asked him to help with rent. The personal trainer from the gym moved out of state. The Miami crypto guy, Never sent a single dollar, shocking no one. A few weeks ago, Madison showed up at my apartment. I was coming back from a hike when I saw her sitting on the steps outside. She looked different, tired. "Can we talk?" she asked. "Just 5 minutes." I almost said no. But I figured, why not? Get it over with. We went to the coffee shop on the corner, sat outside. She told me she'd been trying to get mutual friends to pressure me into giving her another chance. That nobody would. That she'd spent months DMing guys on Instagram hoping one would turn into a real option, and none of them did. That living with her parents was humiliating, that she missed the life we had. Then she said, "I made a mistake. I didn't realize what I had until it was gone. Can we try again? I'm different now." I looked at her and I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no temptation, just neutral. "Madison, even if you've changed, it doesn't erase what happened or what you said. I can't just pretend it never happened." She started crying. "I was just scared. I felt insecure about the income gap. I said stupid things I didn't mean." "Maybe," I said, "but when I set a boundary, you called it abuse. When I asked you to contribute, you threatened to leave. That's not insecurity, that's entitlement. And I'm not interested in dating someone who sees me as a bank account with feelings." She wiped her eyes. "So that's it, 2.5 years and you're just done." "I was done the second you told me you had options. You're the one who took 6 months to realize they weren't real." I left $20 on the table for both our coffees and walked home. She didn't follow. That was the last time we ever talked. Now she's living her life, I'm living mine, and that's how it should be. Remember that travel credit I mentioned? The one from the reverse Qley booking. Last month I got an email from the airline. The dispute was fully resolved in my favor. The charge reversal was complete, and I had a travel credit of $2,800. The resort had already processed their own refund separately. Plus, my miles were fully restored. I sat there looking at that email and I started laughing. Like actually laughing. I'd been so stressed about that $4,600 charge. I'd felt violated, disrespected, taken advantage of. And now, 6 months later, I had almost $3,000 in travel credit and all my miles back. I wasn't out anything. But Madison lost a stable living situation, a partner who actually cared about her, and the comfortable life she'd taken for granted. I didn't book a revenge trip. I didn't use it to take some rebound on a romantic getaway. I used it to take my sister and her husband to Costa Rica for a week. My sister has 2 kids, works as a teacher, and hasn't had a real vacation in 4 years. When I called and offered to cover their flights and accommodation, she cried. We had the best week. Zip lining, hot springs, wildlife tour, just quality time with people I actually love and who love me back without a price tag attached. My brother-in-law kept saying, "Are you sure about this? This is too much." My sister wrote me a thank you card when we got back. Like a physical, handwritten card. It's on my fridge right now. I spent 2.5 years thinking love meant providing without asking questions. That being a good partner meant never saying no. I was wrong. Love isn't about what you can buy for someone. It's not about how much you can tolerate. Real love is a partnership. It's about 2 people building something together, not one person funding another person's fantasy life while being told they're replaceable. I'm not bitter. I'm not jaded. I'm just wiser, more careful, more protective of my peace. My apartment is quiet now, but it's mine. My bank account is healthy. My credit card is safe. My weekends are full of hiking, photography, game nights with friends, and slowly rebuilding a life that's actually mine. And when I look at that thank you card on my fridge, the one from my sister, thanking me for a trip I actually wanted to give, I realize something. Generosity should never feel like you're being held hostage.